Oh man. All right. Okay. We are live. We're kicking it, man. This is a special report. This is the Bloodbath report from yours truly, George, Blockchain, DXB, and of course your host for the most of the time here in Sunnyside, Dubai from Society X. And we want to give a special thanks to our friends from Zilliqa and also the Ord Foundation. Think DeepIn plus AI, think Ord. But now we got to think. We got some pressing news, George. Pressing news. What is it?
Absolutely. It is also called as the KAMALA KRASH with a K. Now, one reason why we decided, Markose, to go ahead and do this episode on a Tuesday is because I tend to release my episodes Monday to Thursdays on Crypto and Coffee at 8. I couldn't get any news. So, there was literally no news regarding, what is the developments taking place in the cryptocurrency and blockchain world. The only reason is simple is because the prices have crashed, not just for the cryptocurrency market, but also for the stock market. Now, I'm just going to run through some numbers, but I think our listeners should know that these numbers are based off yesterday, and I'm taking the peak numbers, so it could be possible that if you're checking it now or trying to fact check it, the numbers would be different now because the prices have slightly bumped up. On Monday, that is Black Monday or KAMALA KRASH, $2.9 trillion has been wiped off from, the stock market, including the cryptocurrency world. Now, $2.9 trillion is a lot, considering the fact that, in 2008, the financial crisis that did actually take place, that was a little over $2 trillion. So it gives you an understanding of, what did actually happen in the stock market, but also on the cryptocurrency world. Now, we focus more on the cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Bitcoin world, isn't it? So that is kind of our expertise. So we'll try to give out more information. And in case if we have missed anything, our listeners can definitely mention them in the comments or even drop us an email. And we'll definitely go ahead and add that in our next session. Now, regarding the cryptocurrency market, Markose, yesterday I saw that all the prices were in red and it was complete bloodbath. Over $500 billion wiped off from the cryptocurrency market, isn't it? And later on, we'll go ahead and discuss why that thing has happened. But I just wanted to run through some numbers, and this is just numbers related to the cryptocurrency world. Now, so far as Bitcoin's dominance is concerned, a lot of selling was actually taking place in Bitcoin. So when you look at the dominance, Bitcoin's dominance was at 56% via CoinMarketCap. I think if you looked at it via CoinGecko, Bitcoin's dominance was at 58%. Now, generally speaking, dominance is great, but when the prices are going down, you don't want the dominance to be leading, isn't it? So it would have been great if Bitcoin's dominance was low, but Bitcoin's dominance was 56%. To be honest, I haven't seen Bitcoin's dominance crossing the 55% mark going back to 2019, to be honest. So it just happened in just a matter of one day. One metric which I think a lot of traders and a lot of listeners should look at is the 24-hour volume of stable coins, because that would give us an indication as to, if people are actually exchanging a lot of the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies onto fiat currencies, or are they parking it into stable coins? Now, the volume only of Tether USDT, the 24-hour volume was at $184 billion. The overall stablecoin market volume was around the $200 billion mark. So, is that a good sign? I really am not sure. I would really like to see the number around the $300 billion mark, because that would mean that on Monday and even on Sunday in Western countries, people were not selling a lot of the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Rather, they were just parking onto it. And if that would have happened, that would mean that, probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or probably next week or week after that, the prices would be pumping up. But the numbers are not that great. Now, regarding stable coins, Markose, I also send you a message via Telegram. Last time, we have seen such drastic volume was when El Salvador made Bitcoin a legal tender. So I think our listeners should know that when El Salvador made Bitcoin a legal tender, after they implemented it, there was 90 days. It was kind of like a buffer period. And on the 90th day, the cryptocurrency market crashed. The price of Bitcoin itself went down by $8,000. Just the price of Bitcoin went down by $8,000. Something similar to that is what we were seeing, on Monday. And if you look at, if I remember, the 24-hour volume of Tether USDT back then was around the $162 billion mark. And Markose, I sent you a message when it was $154 billion, isn't it? So I was anticipating, let's see
Yeah.
Crossed $162 billion mark. It just might be the largest 24-hour volume in Tether USDT's history. I'm pretty much confident on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is essentially what it is. Another metric which, I don't think so it's connected to the US recession news or regarding the stock market crash, and that is to do with the DeFi Total Value Locked. The total value locked has gone down to $79 billion. Now, for our listeners, you should know that in 2023, the total value locked across all blockchain protocols used to hover somewhere between the $30 to $40 billion mark. Because of news regarding spot Bitcoin ETF, people were anticipating that Ethereum ETF will also take place. Last year, that is before the Bitcoin ETF got approved, the total value lock started pumping up, and a lot of them wanted to be validators. But because the spot Ethereum trading went live and it does not have, staking as a service involved, I was actually anticipating that the total value locked will actually go down. So in case the people are saying that the total value locked has gone down because of the stock market and crypto bloodbath, I don't think so. I think the total value locked would have gone down nonetheless. Because as an investor, why would I buy a spot Ethereum trading or a spot Ethereum ETF? Rather, I would go and buy the actual Ethereum, then I can put it back into the Ethereum validator pool and earn some more Ethereum, isn't it? That is what makes a lot of sense. The only positive matrix since the last 24 hours, Markose, is that of Aave. And they have recorded a profit of $6 million, which isn't that great, but it is at $6 million. One sad metric, and this is from the decentralized exchange in cryptocurrency world, is that to do with DEXs, decentralized exchange. The volume is exactly the same. So imagine you've had one of the biggest crash. Ideally speaking, this is where decentralized exchange should have pumped up, isn't it? But the volume of decentralized exchange was exactly the same. I'm not sure if the number has changed right now, so maybe our listeners can check it via defilama.com. Just run through it. I'm pretty much sure now the volume would have picked up. Because most of the crash, I would say 60 to 70% of the crash happened in Asian time when United States of America was kind of sleeping. That is when majority. Have you noticed your portfolio shrink down a lot?
This guy right here, man. He's trying to get me. You're trying to rile me up, man. You're trying to rile me up, man. You can't play this game right here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I did. But I'm telling you this, because I said, like a couple of days ago, I noticed, prices were going down. And I thought, okay, you know what, yeah. So, because this happened, just a couple of days ago, right? So, I guess, already, some of the tokens that, I want to get into, they started to go down. So, and they kind of and it's at a price point where, I felt like, hey, you know what? That makes sense. Lower my average price. If you're like a trader or something, lower the average price, the better it is. So, you could, hit your 5x or 10x, or, if you're very ambitious, go 20x or 30x or something, which, to me is more like a hot red zone kind of area, because that's the point where, it's sellers versus sellers, right? So if you're a trader, if you know how it is. So, so I thought like, hey, I got some good, got in some good projects. And, next thing I know is, yesterday or something, or even, I was just like, what the heck is going on? So, just seeing day before yesterday is when the crash happened, right? So, just seeing this drop from, I was surprised. One of the biggest surprises was, for me, was, this one, Ondo. I thought, Ondo will stay around like $1 or something. And also, I being previously in the exchange space too, a lot of the KOLs, a lot of these professional traders too, they saw Ondo as pretty solid because, it's connected to BlackRock, Securitize, all that jazz. But, it went down yesterday. I remember 50 cents. Didn't expect a lot of surprise. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised, because it is connected to the old TradFi world. And usually July and August, early September, is like the holiday time. A lot of people, like would cash out for, their vacations, especially if coming from the West. A lot of our European VCs love to take vacations during this time. So it is very interesting to see that connection, but the timing is quite interesting to see how the crash happened. So like, I mean, imagine that, guys, like all this, I know that, all these things are connected. And of course, a lot of these variables you cannot control. So, I think one lesson I learned from this, mostly for me, was, in terms of how you DCA in. So one mistake I made this, and I want to share this with you guys, is because, I think, I made I guess sort of a rookie mistake. Maybe not, depending on who you talk to. But the mistake was that, say for example, if I'm willing to put like, $100 or something, don't throw $100 right there. Break it up into, I don't know, maybe like 30, 20 or something. So that way, in terms of the timing, you're able to essentially lower your average buying price. So the lower the average buying price, the better. So this is something I learned. I'm like, and so like Sunday and Monday, I spent a lot of time, working out this Excel sheet. I hate Excel. Even though I'm Indian, I'm a dumbass in math. So it took me a while to do the formulas and stuff, but it made me really think. So, what, just please keep that in mind. And yeah, so definitely looking at my portfolio, George, as you asked, it is quite bloodied, but I would say it's not that bad because, but again, the tragic is that because, it is a falling knife situation, like you bought at a certain price, you thought it'll like stay there for some time and then incrementally slowly go up. It kept on falling. So I experienced a double falling knife.
Let's talk about, Marcus, as to why the crypto bloodbath did actually take place. And this is my interpretation because I tend to follow the US politics quite a lot. We won't talk about US politics, at least in this particular episode, because it's more focused on cryptocurrency and blockchain. What did actually happen is that the Israel PM, Netanyahu, he did have a very long session with the members of Congress. I think our listeners, what they should do is make sure you go and listen to the entire part, what he said. Some of it is extremely, extremely scary. Now, we are not going to take side as to which side of politics we should follow or any particular geopolitical situation. In the realm of cryptocurrency and blockchain, the moment I heard what he said, I immediately told my dad that, look, there's going to be panic in the next few days. And the very next day, there was geopolitical chaos between Iran. They tried to have some attack with Israel. The same thing with Lebanon, Hezbollah. They had an attack with Israel as well. Now, this actually coincided with the CPI numbers, because the CPI numbers, I believe, was out on the 31st of July. So all these things created a lot of panic among investors. And that is one of the major reasons why. So if you were to ask me, and people can disagree to it, I kind of think it in the following steps as to why it caused, or why it actually why we actually faced a cryptocurrency bloodbath. The first one is the speech that, Benjamin Netanyahu gave at the US Congress. The very next day, we saw a lot of geopolitical chaos in the Middle East. Then it was followed by the CPI numbers. Now, we'll touch base on the CPI numbers, Marcus, because there's a lot of articles talking about US recession. So we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that. But one major reason as to why, there is a lot of cryptocurrency bloodbath is because of the stock exchange in Japan. And that has had the worst day since Black Monday in 1987. Now, the reason why they had the bloodbath is because of the US recession. And we have some numbers that we'll also go into base on regarding our US recession. Now, what I recommend our listeners to do is, before looking at the US recession numbers on the 31st of July, Federal Chair Jerome Powell did actually go live where he talked about the US interest rate. And the numbers were not that bad. So he talked about the inflation numbers. He usually tends to have a back and forth session with the media. I would really recommend our listeners to go ahead and listen to the entire video, because a lot of mainstream media that they're publishing it is kind of incorrect. Now, at least 4 to 5 times he actually said that the unemployment rate is not bad. It isn't great, but it is definitely much better than, let's say the last 3 or 4 years. So it's a bit ironic that people are talking about US recession. So my big question is it the media pushing it that US is heading towards a recession? That's what I think so. Because what we need to do is, we need to go to a website called as Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, Bureau of Labor Statistics gives information regarding 2 things. One is regarding the inflation numbers. The inflation numbers were not that bad. It was not that great itself. So the Federal Chair, Jerome Powell, what he does is, based on that numbers, he goes ahead and makes a decision as to whether to keep the interest rate, reduce it, or increase it. He made the decision to keep the interest rate. Now, because of that, Markose, technically speaking, or logically speaking, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should have been pumping up. But what happened is that this particular session happened on the 31st of July, and the following day, that is the 1st of August, is when the jobs market numbers were out. Now, the jobs market number isn't that bad in comparison to, let's say, the previous year or previous month. So I'm not sure why people are talking about US recession. I'm reading articles regarding Japanese stock exchange. They had one of the biggest downfall, and they were saying because of US recession. Now, on the bottom of our screen, Markose, if we have some recession numbers. We can actually read it out, or if you can share the screen to our listeners so they will get some idea as to what the recession
is. All right, okay. I can share it. Okay. Can you share the link from your side?
Okay, let me do one thing. Let me go ahead and share you the official link.
Okay, and I will share from my screen or something.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, just place it in the private chat. And... Oh, fantastic. All right, fantastic. All right, let's do this and sharing.
We won't go through all the numbers, Markose, because it might get a bit boring because it goes into teeny tiny specifics. But, what the listeners can do is read through it, or just copy paste it into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So here we are looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics government website. And right in front of you, we are presenting the employment situation summary.
And this was the day after the CPI numbers were after the FOMC meeting. So if you actually go through these numbers are not great, but it is definitely not bad. These numbers were much worse, in the past 6 months, definitely much worse in 2021 and 2022. It is far worse than what it is right now. Now, there's this argument you can make as to what defines a recession.
Sure.
Some people are saying that if 3 months the unemployment rate is on an uptick, then it is termed as recession. But regarding this, only 1 month it has been where the unemployment has picked up, and it hasn't picked up quite a lot. I believe it is at 4.1%, isn't it? So as long as the unemployment rate in US is somewhere between 3.5 to 5%, it is okay. It is not that bad. So what I've done is, I put all that information in ChatGPT and I asked in terms, can you tell us a brief summary? So it actually says that the unemployment is actually up by 114,000 jobs. That's about all. So in just 1 month, it's not like in millions of people have got unemployed. It's only 114,000 jobs that have been up. And if you look at it from, a cumulative perspective, that has actually increased quite a lot. And it gives you a breakup of, men who are unemployed the most, teens, blacks, everything. Now, this is actually the data, Markose. If you were to get to the root cause, this is the only report as to why the world is in an absolute panic and $2.9 trillion has gone down. But my big question is, Markose, is this something which is pushed by the media as opposed to the actual facts? Now, the fake news has turned out to be correct. Now, what I tend to do is, Markose, and I've said this thing probably as a long time, whenever FOMC meeting takes place, I go to listen to what Jerome Powell says. After that, there is a question and answer session. And I often listen to what the question and answer session is. Now, going back to 2021, and I've mentioned this in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast many times as well. In 2021, Markose, he was asked 8 times, is the US heading to recession? All the 8 times he said no. The US is not heading to recession. The numbers are looking fine. And the very next day, all mainstream media started publishing information that US is heading towards recession, but Jerome Powell is denying those numbers. So, this is...
Yeah. No, it's interesting. John, I just thought let's show this website called shadowstats.com. So I remember back in the old days and stuff. I don't know if people still check it out, but here they provide what are you seeing right now? The alternative, I guess, unemployment chart. So they're showing the official. I would say the official numbers. And then you got the broadest. To be honest, I don't know what they mean by the broadest, but and then you got the ones from Shadow Stats, so they have their calculations. So obviously, the point with Shadow Stats is they show a much more like a different economic reporting system as compared to what the United States government is showing, or maybe other countries are doing too. So I don't know.
Well, so it's exactly the same, Markose. It's exactly the same if you actually look at the numbers. The unemployment has actually been going down in 2023. I think both the numbers are exactly the same. If you look at the graph, see, 2020 is when we had the COVID-19.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. No, but in terms of, what's it from the official line, it shows what? Below 5%. Then you got the broadest below, I don't know, I would say, 7.5%. But then over here showing 25%. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you were to compare it since the last, let's say, 3 years, if you just look at the last 3 years,
okay.
I mean, if you look at the last 3 years, it has been going down, isn't it? It isn't that bad.
Yeah, sure. No, I agree. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah. I guess cumulative, you're right, yeah.
If, let's say, the last month would have a drastic spike, then it would have made sense, that the world is heading towards recession. And, I also watched Federal Chair Jerome Powell live on 31st as well. And he was asked about the labor market condition, and he said the unemployment has marginally picked up pace, but overall he's quite content with the labor market condition. Now, what I feel, and this is where I'm going to put my conspiracy hat, Markose, is it possible that the media is pushing for a recession for 2 things? One is they have their own insurance policies that they want to sell. They have their own gold investments. They want people to go out and buy a lot of gold because the prices of gold has been picked up pace quite a lot. I definitely do think that is a possibility. The second one is, in the question and answer session, they were stressing for Jerome Powell to go ahead and reduce the interest rate. Now, I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion as to why the media wants September, the month, to go ahead and reduce the interest rate. Because most likely we will see a reduction in the interest rate in September. In September, if I'm not mistaken, the next FOMC meeting is scheduled to take place, 18th of September. What Jerome Powell is going to say is that because, there was so much of stock market crash, maybe it might be okay to go ahead and reduce the interest rate. Now, from a political point of view, reducing the interest rate will be great for the Biden administration or the KAMALA KRASH administration, because they can go ahead and state there's less than 100 days for the US elections coming up. Let's go ahead and show that there is less interest rate in the market. That is what my conspiracy theory hat is, which is backed by a little bit of fact based on numbers.
Now, it is. Look, it's not a little bit. I think we have to be honest about ourselves. Look, especially with you, you have some real good facts. I mean, it is strong evidence, and what we're seeing right now is that there is this concentrated effort from various media outlets who are they have an agenda, and I guess in this case, I would say like some of the fake news like coming from the mainstream media, in some ways it is quite correct, but the way, but there's a reason, but the way they're doing it is to kind of create a cultural division.
Yeah.
In ways possible. That part we have to answer, because like this, what we're seeing right now is whether the crypto markets, especially with the stock markets, is a telltale sign. So, that, and again, also keep in mind some of the big outlets too, they are backed by, incredibly big companies, and these guys are trying to buy a lot of real estate, they're trying to buy a lot of other stocks. Yeah. And hey, in the crypto space, we know very well, BlackRock, JP Morgan, they all are trying to buy Bitcoins or mining companies. With yes. I know like bank, okay, for example, I know I want to share, because like a lot of people in our space, they all kind of make fun of Vanguard. They're not buying the Bitcoin and stuff, but they don't need to. They're more content in buying mining companies. Yeah, they're the second largest. And also just keep in mind, guys, Vanguard is also one of the main investors in BlackRock as well. So true. It's a small club. You and me, we're not in it.
Exactly.
Just saying.
And what has happened? Yeah, and what has happened, precisely, Marcus, what you're saying is, since the last 24 hours, some of these tech giants like BlackRock, MicroStrategy, Grayscale, Fidelity Investment, they haven't sold absolutely anything. They might have actually purchased a lot more of the Bitcoin, so they haven't sold absolutely anything, because for them, they're talking about billions, if not trillions of dollars worth of cryptocurrencies and stock market, isn't it? So they haven't sold absolutely anything. And one thing I also wanted to touch base on regarding, the FOMC meeting, this was a bit bizarre, because rather than asking questions about, let's say the inflation numbers and anything to do with the broader market conditions, in the back and forth session, the media was stressing about, getting the interest rate low. And I'm not sure, Marcus, if you remember, roughly around 2 months ago, we talked about the World Economic Forum. They also tried to visit Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen, and they were telling that make sure that the US has the right monetary economic policy, isn't it? We very briefly touch base on that. Now, based on my understanding, what Federal Chair Jerome Powell has done is absolutely spot on. He has taken a completely apolitical move. So, he has said he has done probably the right thing by not reducing the interest rate hike. He has kept it exactly like it is. And our listeners should also check that regarding CBDCs, he has debunked quite a lot of talks regarding central bank digital currencies. He's openly said that the Federal Reserve Board is not keen on working on any CBDCs. And they do think that CBDCs might be great, but they don't have any authority regarding CBDCs. It has to go and be put forward to Congress. Now, you can make an argument that what he's saying is wrong. You could be right on that, but I'm just saying what he actually said. But yeah, but that is essentially what was going on regarding the jobs market. Now, apart from that, Marcus, at a macro level, South Korea, they also had the biggest stock market crash since 2008. And that was again based on U.S. recession fears. That is
fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating. In India, our country in India, they had something worth of 15 lakh crores, because India uses a different denomination for the currency, which is approximately $181 billion worth of stock market has disappeared. UK, there's civil rights going on. Now, I'm not sure what kind of political side you're in. The new prime minister.
Wait, hold up. Let's not forget our friends from Bangladesh. I mean, the prime minister of Bangladesh, she fled to India. So
she resigned.
She had to escape. She escaped. Like, man. I mean, because unfortunately, I don't recognize the people of Bangladesh. Our Bangladeshi brothers, Bengali brothers, man, because a lot of people have died. A lot of people have made some big sacrifices, and now I don't know much about her, the previous regime or something. But I know a lot of young people are angry. They have been frustrated, and from a picture, she seems like a nice person. But hey, you know what? Like when it comes to politics and stuff, I don't trust him, so I wouldn't be surprised why she had to flee. Why she had to flee? She fled, and of all places, she went to India. So for me, I'm not comfortable with autocrats coming to India and stuff.
True.
I can understand the Dalai Lama had to leave Tibet, and we offer sanctuary. I'm cool with that, but I don't know. But I would need more information. But I have more respect for the young people in Bangladesh for fighting for their country. And of course, see, many of these people are also active in the crypto space. They are trying to change their lives using blockchain technology. They're trying to earn a living through crypto. So, I have mad respect for that. So, but I'm keen to learn more, but it is interesting, George. A lot of stuff is happening at the same time. Closer to home, George, if you think about it. Wow.
Very, very, very true. And, there's a lot of geopolitical chaos going on right now, isn't it? And I'm just reading through a quote by Julian Assange. He said, if wars can be started by lies, peace can be started by truth, but it does come with a really, really hefty price as well. Now, regarding the stock market crash, Marcus, I've just thought of a Bollywood actor called Salman Khan. I'm pretty much sure some of the guys know who he is.
Yeah.
He often said this thing which is so powerful, which makes it true right now. He said that when media starts publishing fake news, over time that fake news turns out to be true. And if you look at this fake news regarding the recession, I'm not necessarily saying it's fake news, but it's put across in a certain way. Now we have had the stock market crash. So what media was saying, now eventually that has happened, isn't it? The market has gone down. So whether we like it or not, that's one of the reasons why, Marcus, when I do consultation, I always tell this to our listeners, to my clients. Whenever Jerome Powell goes live, try to listen to what he says, but don't make decisions based on that, because mainstream media, they often put out a completely different narrative. You'd be surprised, 90% of the time it is completely different to what he's actually said. Market actually reacts to what mainstream media says. And that's the only website I can think of is Bitcoin Magazine, where they clearly make a differentiation between opinions and news. I don't see any other website, let's say fake news, BBC or CNN, have opinions versus, because everyone is entitled to have their own opinions. Now, I'm not saying that the unemployment rate is brilliant or great. It is definitely bad, but it could not lead to recession. But now, because of the fake news and now because of the market crash, it could lead to a recession as well, isn't it? Because if you look at the numbers, the stock market in cryptocurrency, it has gone down by $2.9 trillion. If you compare it with, say, the financial crisis in 2008, it was little over $2 trillion. So now you're going to see a snowball effect, a domino effect rather, where, you'll see a lot of companies going belly up. Now you touch based upon Bitcoin mining industry, Markers. I feel one of the biggest industry that will be impacted the most in the next coming weeks and months is the Bitcoin mining industry, because how the Bitcoin mining industry works, because of the economies of scale, a lot of them, they have to take loans. Now, because the price of Bitcoin did actually go down, until and unless Bitcoin touches the 70, 80 or even $100,000 mark, these miners will not be making any profit. And the banks that they have given them loan, they will be asking them for, what is going on with your business. They won't be, these banks, they won't be looking at in the near future that, the prices of Bitcoin will turn to 1 million or 10 million or $100,000. They're concerned with what is currently going on. So I would anticipate a lot of the Bitcoin mining companies to be shutting down, which did actually happen in the last Bitcoin halving as well. A lot of the Bitcoin mining companies did completely shut down. So one of the industries I do feel is going to be impacted the most is probably the Bitcoin mining industry.
I just want to share, like, when you talk about the banks, just for folks who are new, like, before I got into crypto, I used to work for American Express, so there was a time, during the the lockdowns and stuff. So, of course, American Express provides, credit and, to, their clients. It's a credit card and a charge card company. It's a financial services company. So, so it doesn't matter whether American Express or any banks and stuff, but I can tell you, I can assure you that, they don't look, they don't look like, 5 years or 10 years or something. Uh, Many folks, especially I was part of there was a time that I was also part of the risk management team.
Mhm.
So the risk management team is way more powerful. They make they make the controlling decisions as compared to marketing or the sales team and stuff. They're the ones who decide who gets credit, who doesn't. And definitely they're concerned about what's going to happen now. I'll be bold to say, look, many of these guys, I would say they're sort of like NPCs in a sense. But they care about the number. They want to make sure. I remember, like, I had to, I remember I told, like, this is like the dumbest thing. Why? They asked me to, like, call some of the leadership in Kareem. So yeah, because because we have the dashboard, we know how much credit they're taking, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So we had to give them, make calls and stuff. And I'm just like, what the F, so, definitely for sure. These bankers of the folks from the banks, they will want to know, hey, what's happening with these mining companies? What's going on? Like, what's the situation? Are you able to make the payments? So they will, try to, they just want to know. And from there, they could make
Exactly, yeah.
whatever stupid decisions. So let's put it that way. So they want to share this out there so you guys are aware. So they have it.
And another area I do feel, which will be impacted the most, at least in the short term, is that of meme coins, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would assume, like, meme coins have taken a big dive, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but I do anticipate, as the market tends to pump up, and that's one of the reasons why, it's good to look at what is going on regarding the stablecoin volume, at least for the next few days. I do feel that we might see a pump up so far stablecoin volume is concerned. And apart from that, a notorious legend, His Excellency Justin Sun, he has promised a $1 billion fund to go and help the Ethereum prices. I'm not sure what's going to happen to that, whether he's going to keep up to his promises or not. Because when the German government was dumping a lot of the Bitcoin, he said that, he'll buy it for them, but he didn't approach them. He just went in and put out a tweet stating that he'll buy it, but he didn't follow through with his actions. I'm not sure what is going on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But but Joe, but just think about, but I'm just like thinking, okay, a $1 billion fund for Ethereum. That's in the grand scheme of that's freaking nothing, because when Ethereum jumps, or that times, like, it jumped to a point where its jump is almost bigger than Solana's market cap. So, like, how is it going to affect it? Like, I don't see how. Like, wait, what? Like,
maybe his move would, try to inspire other people to do something similar. Something, I'm not sure.
Oh, is that what? Okay, have you explained that? Okay, I guess I can see that. I guess, but $1 billion, like, I don't know, like,
ridiculously low amount, isn't it?
No, if you're talking about like a small cap coin or something, yeah, sure, that's a big jump. But for Ethereum, man, it's meta. It's
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what our listeners should do is, at least for the next coming days, probably weeks, this is what my suggestion is. Try to keep a track of what is going on, particularly so far as the volume of stablecoins is concerned. That would give us an idea as to, which direction the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies would be heading towards. It does not necessarily mean that, the stablecoin volume is increasing. The prices will be increasing, but I would say at least good 80% chance if the stablecoin volume is about the $100 billion mark, that, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should be pumping up. Let's quickly check, Markose, right now. What is the stablecoin volume? I'm just trying to check it via CoinMarketCap. Well, the stablecoin volume is still at $182 billion. So, as long as it is about the $100 billion mark, at least for the next few days, usually the stablecoin volume, hovers somewhere between the $50 to $70 billion mark. Occasionally it touches the $80 billion mark. The other thing I would recommend listeners to do is try to look at what is going on regarding the Middle East chaos is concerned. Now, Joe Biden, he's supposed to be having a meeting with, the top leaders from the Middle East, and he wants to have a ceasefire. I'm not sure what the outcome to that is. We don't want to take any political side, but definitely worth keeping an eye on, because these news will directly or indirectly impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Regarding Twitter, Markose, I would only suggest two Twitter IDs to check, at least for the next 3 to 4 days. One is the whale alert. The Twitter ID is whale-alert, because what they tend to do is any abnormal transactions, they highlight it, which is really crucial to check what happens to the next 3 to 4 days. And the other one is Akram Intelligence. Their Twitter ID is Akram Intel.
Oh, you mean Arkham? Oh, Arkham. Yeah. The Arkham. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's that's an interesting project though. So what do you think about it? I know that has been it's been kind of controversial in terms of how it de-anonymized blockchain, but I don't know, but it's not revolutionary for me, but I know for many people in terms of the cultural narrative is
I kind of am okay with it, because that's the whole idea of transactions to be publicly open, isn't it? They do highlight if there is any notorious thing going on. I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah. But same here. I mean,
some people may not like it, or depends, some Bitcoin maximalists they may not like. I mean, they are the ones who highlighted, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were the ones who initially highlighted that the German government is dumping a lot of the Bitcoin. Had we not known that to them, I'm pretty much sure someone else would have done it as well. But I'm kind of okay with that, to be completely honest. And it is a great business area, especially if you want governments involved or get funding from governments. Because governments, they would like such projects and protocols, isn't it?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So, because I wouldn't be surprised, as as many of you know, working with Ort in terms of, business partnerships and marketing and heavily into business partnerships. Like when I see Arkham, I can see potentially a lot of big partnerships coming from different government agencies and stuff. Would love to partner with, Arkham, and also like the theme with Arkham, the mimetic in a sense is connected to Batman. So I'm a big, I would say like a Batman, fan, so in terms of, tracking activities on the public blockchain. Makes sense, I guess. So, and especially if you're talking about I would prefer tracking, government transactions than private individuals. Because that'd be much more, interesting, because, that's where the real, numbers, that's where the real action takes place. So, hey, Satoshi, say hello.
Yeah. 100% yes. And Markose, I'm just looking at the decentralized exchange numbers now. I'll just send you the link to it as well.
Oh, sure. Okay.
More than triple since the last 24 hours. And for the very first time, decentralized to centralized exchange dominance is 50%. Looks like these guys listen to us live, and that's one of the reasons why there were some errors on the mic. If you look at the second link that I sent, DEXs.
Okay. I'm showing that. Okay. Go ahead. Fine.
Yeah, if you look at DEX to CX dominance, it says 50.33%, isn't it?
Oh, wait, hold on. Because I'm on the DEX page. Hold up, let me see.
Let's say it's DEX volume. If you see total volume, $20.45 billion. Below that, it says decentralized to centralized exchange dominance.
Oh, sure. Man, wow. I must be blind. Okay, no, yeah. I see it. Yeah. There you go. Okay, yeah, that's it.
So this is almost double since, to be precise, because I've been checking this after every few hours. Or maybe they just update it at a specific time. That could be a possibility as well, because, USA and most of the Western countries, they were kind of sleepy and they were on the Sunday mode because most of the things happen on Monday Asia time, isn't it? So the DEX to centralized exchange dominance was around the 23% mark. And if you look at the volume markers of decentralized exchanges, the maximum Uniswap's volume has gone up is to $2.5 billion. I think it might have just crossed the $3 billion mark on one day, but now it has pumped up to $7.54 billion if you look under the 24-hour volume.
Oh, I see it all right here. Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah. Now, I think our listeners should know that when you see these volumes, it is also possible that a lot of centralized exchanges and protocols are using decentralized exchanges. And that is the reason why the volume is pumped up.
I would say, like, just for the new people who are coming in, PancakeSwap is from Binance. So
yeah. Now, what is really strange, Markose, is if you look at Radium is at number 6, which is completely bizarre because since the last 3 weeks, Radium has been consistently at number 2nd. So Solana's volumes are really great, and that is the only one which is down, which is completely bizarre. It is down by weekly, it is down by 16.79%, which does not seem to make a lot of sense. So I'm anticipating.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Actually, but George, I got to ask you, because see, I'm not familiar with Orca. Orca is on, like, I guess it's a I don't know if it was a DEX on Solana, so that was interesting. And so I'm kind of curious about you. I mean, what's your thought? Two things: your thoughts on Orca on Solana. And the second, which is the last one, I'm actually quite curious about Aerodrome on Base. And just for the folks out there, Base is a chain by Coinbase. So.
Yep. I honestly don't use those, so I have no information regarding them, to be honest. I don't use, Orca. I don't use Radium as well, for that matter. So I have no clue what it is. But in terms of numbers, I do find something fishy going on, either with Radium or with the top 5. It can't be both. I mean, based on what has happened since the last 24 hours, Radium's volume also should have been in the top 5 because their volumes were around or it could be possible that DeFi Llama is not reporting it correctly because since 2024, there's happened many occasions that DeFi Llama is not taking the matrix correctly. That could also be a possibility. But yeah, I mean, this website does show quite a lot of information. So based on these numbers, it does look pretty promising, I guess, because I'm not sure of decentralized exchanges, they can convert it into fiat currency, isn't it? Which just means that there's so much of volume still in decentralized exchanges. So that is a good thing. If you look at, last 7 days, $60 billion, the amount is still ridiculously less, but in comparison to previous months, it's definitely much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah. Now, it's great for Uniswap, which means they'll be making truckloads of money with the transaction fees. And they had recently pumped up the fees because, SEC was going after Uniswap Labs. So one way they decided to fight back against the SEC was by increasing the transaction fees. Which is yeah, so they might be earning a lot of money, yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just kind of funny because, like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just burst out laughing. It's just funny. Like, man, like, they gotta pay the legal fees, and you know what? Like, hey, look, see, this is a good example. This is what happens when, when, governments, they get involved and, instead of, like, providing value, all it does is it just increases cost, and it just, affects the, the regular people, end of the day. So I'm sure, look, Uniswap, they want to offer lower fees and, get more. And I guess they'll still do it, but like, even still then, I mean, like, this is what's happened, I guess, and they get, and you have like agencies like the SEC who are just running rampage, and I don't see any bureaucrats or politicians like raining their dogs, so it is, so.
Very much true. And Marcus, just one point I wanted to share is regarding, the link that you sent. Can you put that link up once again? I think I might have deleted it or it's disappeared from the private chat.
Oh, sorry. Which link?
The shadow stats.
Sure. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Let me, hold on.
Because if you actually go through it and if you look at the numbers, right now the unemployment rate is at 4.1%, but I think I saw it somewhere in 2023, it was at 6%.
Okay, let me just...
yeah, so if you look, Marcus, where it says May 2023, just above.
Okay. All right. So where do you want me to go?
Where it says May 2023, shadow starts alternative employment increased 24.7% from 24.6%.
Oh, okay. Oh, I hear. Okay, yeah, May. So, there you go. Okay.
So what that states is that May 2023, shadow starts alternative unemployment increased to 24.7% from 24.6%, on top of U.6 increasing 6.7% to 6.6%. Right now, based on the latest release, it says that the unemployment rate is at 4.1%. So in comparison to last year, it is definitely much better, isn't it? So technically speaking, this recession should have happened last year, which it did not. So I don't anticipate, a recession happening at least now.
Yeah.
Let me put out another conspiracy hat, Marcus, and this is...
Please, we need some, I think.
Point of view. Could it be possible that the left-leaning administration and mainstream media, they want Jerome Powell to go ahead and reduce the interest rate hike, which is at the next FOMC meeting that is going to take place on the 18th of September. And then they are going to use that as a narrative that, look, for the first time in almost 4 years, the interest rate is going down. It is as close as possible to 2%. I mean, the inflation will be as close as possible to 2%. So please vote for us. Very risky move because from a political point of view, I'm really not sure that is what they will be doing, because roughly around 10 days from now, that is 18th of this month, they have the Democratic Convention, not ceremony, ritual, so to speak. Yeah, they're going to officially have Kamala Harris as the nominee.
Rightly said.
So if they wanted to have done that, they could have done that in the previous FOMC meeting, jobs report, not at this one. So I'm not sure why there's news regarding US recession. And as I said, because of fake news that eventually turns out to be true. Now, because of the stock market crash, there is a possibility of a recession, because it always going to have a knockdown effect. Now you're going to see a lot of companies going belly up in the next coming days and weeks and months. I think, Marcos, you were in Dubai in 2008 when the Lehman Brothers went belly up. The Burj Khalifa, they had to stop the construction.
Oh, I was in the States though.
Oh, okay.
I was in the States. That 2008 was my junior. Yeah, it was actually my junior year.
Yeah.
But I remember well. It did. Let's say it's memorable. But I was living in Texas, so the effect wasn't that bad. But if you're like if you had, because I had some friends who, half my friends were watching Fox News, half my friends were watching CNN. But just seeing like how things played out.
Yeah. There's fake news on either side, isn't it? Fake news on either side, I think. So that's one of the reasons I always say is always try to look at information from first source. But lately, government from both the sides, they are manipulating the information from first source as well. And Ray Dalio, one of my legends, he has also said that now it has gone so scary that mainstream media, governments are trying to manipulate information from first source. So could it be possible that the information in Bureau of Labor Statistics is manipulated? Yes, could it be possible that the CPI inflation number is manipulated, despite it being completely apolitical? Like the Federal Reserve Board, it is completely apolitical. And
yeah.
based on my understanding, he's doing the right decisions. Now, we may not like what he's doing, but any sensible person from both the sides would say, okay, Jerome Powell is making the right moves. We can bash him as much as we want. If he wanted to support, let's say, the Republican side, he could have increased the interest rate hike and say, or if he was, let's say, in favor of the Biden administration, he would have reduced the interest rate hike. But based on the information, it looks like he's done the right thing. That is my opinion. People can disagree. I think we've covered pretty much everything, Markose, isn't it?
Yeah. We covered a lot of the heavy stuff.
The only thing what I'd recommend our listeners should do is, try to listen to 3 videos. And I've said this so many times, Markose, to you as well. Listen to the speech by Prime Minister of Israel. I mean, I'm not saying any political side, but just listen to it because that tells you what is going to happen regarding the geopolitical chaos. The second one is listen to Jerome Powell's full speech, even the question and answer session. If you compare that with mainstream media, you'd be surprised 90% of what you're reading on, let's say, Reuters, CNBC, CNN, or UN Fact News is completely different. And the third one is look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because the numbers are not that bad. It is definitely not great, but it is not that bad. And we have seen much worse numbers in 2021, 2022, 2023. So if recession did not happen then, does not make sense to have a recession now. But, fake news does turn out to be true news. That's the power of fake news, I guess. So I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned that, because obviously both the sides have been, they keep preaching the lie that to a point that it just becomes true. So they just keep repeating it. So as long as the more they repeat it, I guess the truer it gets, So in terms of the perception, that's how it's all about controlling people's perception. So, and I think they understand human psychology way better than the regular people themselves. So, so I think that's something like, I think for a lot of folks to keep maintaining that consciousness, that, hey, you know what, like, we are being played. We gotta be aware so that we can prepare. So,
true.
And that's the reason why guys like me and George, we do this, because we want to challenge our perceptions and question the narrative. And also who's controlling the narrative too, because, that's, because that's what is going on. So if, especially if you're like a marketing person too, you know how important it is to control the narrative, how to own the narrative. So,
I think perfectly said. And in case if we have missed any information or if you guys want to correct us, please mention us in the comments below. We'll be more than happy to update the information as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got pretty much everything, isn't it, Markose?
Yeah, I think we did. I think, no, I'm just checking out the Bloodbath out there, but, but now if you're checking out like, your CoinGecko, or if you're checking out your exchange wallets or something like that, you're seeing a lot of green right now, double digits. But just keep in mind, guys, that, the prices are still low, so it's still down. So, but if you're like a trader, if you're like an investor, hey, I think it's, a good time to, get in. So
exactly, yeah.
But of course, not a financial advice. This is just a cautionary tale, a story for people to learn. So,
when there's bloodbath in the market, it's perfect time, isn't it, to get into the market. And one thing which I touched base earlier on also, Markose, I'd really like to see a lot of mainstream media have this section where they mention about opinion versus news. I think Bitcoin Magazine is the only one who does that, where they say it is a news and where it says it is an opinion. And people often get confused between opinion versus news. So, someone would say that this is what I think it should be. You could be wrong. You're entitled to your own opinion. Like I could say that, no, the inflation is not correct based on my understanding. I could be mistakenly wrong. But that does not become news as such. So if, let's say, Decrypt or anyone else, they start doing that, I think that'd be great. So listeners will be knowing that they are listening to someone's opinion and not necessarily facts. You can disagree with their opinion, but with facts you can't disagree, isn't it? Facts are facts.
Yeah, and before we go, hold up, I just want to share this quote right here. I think it's a good, I believe it's a good ending to our, Bloodbath report. Let me just add this, and there you have it, guys. So here's a quote by Baron Rothschild.
Yeah.
The time to buy is when there's blood in the streets.
True.
But he also does add that when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. That's
yeah.
This is from Baron Rothschild. And I'm sure not many people are not history buffs, but the Rothschild family are one of the oldest banking families in the world. Even if you put your conspiracy hat on, you could say they also own some of the central banks in the world, all that stuff, yada yada. But that being said too, but also an interesting fact is that the Rothschild family was also instrumental in, especially Baron Rothschild, instrumental in founding the Zionist state of Israel. So, not many people know about it. But I know we have a lot of new people. They don't know. They don't know history. They don't know who Rothschild is. So I'll tell you what. I got another quote, and this is from Warren Buffett. And I guess we all know who Warren Buffett is. If you don't know, you're living under a rock. So he says this: "I will tell you how to become rich. Close the doors. Be fearful when others are greedy, but be greedy when others are fearful."
Brilliant way. I totally agree.
Yeah. So, that's but John, thank you so much. I have learned a lot, looking at these numbers and stuff, and also this time has been, instrumental in understanding our respective ecosystems.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I think we've got quite a lot as well, and let's see how the market reacts, and hopefully the prices do bump up, the next coming days, weeks, but not financial advice.
Not financial advice. This is, these are just, industry tales for people to learn and ruminate. So, anyways, this is your time, folks, and we gotta go. So, y'all be good. Y'all be safe. We'll talk to you soon. And once again, we want to give a special thanks to our friends from Blockchain DXB, Society X, the Ord Foundation, and also our friends from Zilliqa too. So, we gotta go.
Thanks, guys. Have a nice one. Take care.